Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi Robert Barr, and I'm pleased that you're joining me and each other for this Shabbat service. It's an opportunity for us to step out of our daily routines, to help us cope with the chaotic times that we're living in, to help us to get in touch with and remember our deeply held values and our beliefs. So put away the pencil and the paper, put away the notebook and the keys, set aside the shovel and hammer, rest. For this interval, no buying, no selling, no working, no laboring, no straining, not living in the past, not planning for the future. This is a time for celebration, for joy, for mirth. We are here alive to rejoice in another Sabbath, another opportunity to be together, grateful for our family and our friends. With no distractions, we touch and are touched, the great gift of the Sabbath. Again, I'm Rabbi Robert Barr of Congregation Beth Adam, our bricks and mortar congregation, and our Jewish community, our online congregation. They're two sides of the same coin. But we've been streaming services for over 10 years. And when we began, we did so because we recognized that there was an opportunity to connect people around the world who wanted to be a part of something larger than themselves, that found the voice of Judaism that we give expression to at Congregation Beth Adam meaningful. Technology has become ever more important because of the pandemic. Streaming services allowed all of us, whether we both live in Greater Cincinnati or we live in other parts of the country or the world, to come together. Social distancing has meant that we haven't had services at Beth Adam since March. But it's also that voice of Judaism that's so important. While we value what our ancestors did, we recognize that we are different. We've been informed by history. We have new information they didn't have access to. We have been shaped by new ideas that they didn't have encounters with. So for us to use the words that they wrote and to think that the ideas and philosophies that they articulated would continue to speak to us today makes no sense. We need to create a new Judaism, a Judaism that's relevant to who we are and the information we had, a Judaism informed by these new ideas. That's what we've been doing here at Congregation Beth Adam. So our liturgy is different than anything you may have encountered anywhere else because we wrote it with these values in mind. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're able to share this Shabbat with all of us together. Leave a note. Let us know where you're participating from. Remember, you can chat with one another on whatever platform you're on. We have 2 Facebook pages and a website. And if you're chatting, be welcoming and let each other know that this is a place where we come together as a community, that we're part of something larger than ourselves. And I understand that many people do not necessarily watch our services in real time. Lots of people can't find that Friday nights at 6 o'clock Eastern time just isn't when they are available to participate. We're here whenever you want to participate. That's the beauty of an online congregation. So I'm glad you're here. And we're going to continue our service with the lighting of the Shabbat candles. On this Sabbath, we create our moment in time. We pause, reflect upon our yesterdays and tomorrows, to renew our ties with family and friends, to restore our energies, to refresh our spirits. As the sun descends and shadows lengthen, it's time for us to see not with our eyes, but with our hearts and minds. As the day gives way to evening, it is time for us to welcome the Sabbath. The candles stand before us, waiting to be lit. We recall our ancestors as we too seek to dispel the darkness and banish the cold, to bring glowing softness, warmth, and safety into our homes. May the dancing flames of these candles kindle warmth within our hearts, wisdom in our minds, passion in our souls. Baruch ha'or ba'olam, blessed is the light within the world. Baruch ha'or ba'adam, blessed is the light within each person. Baruch ha'or ba'Shabbat, blessed is the light of the Sabbath. I'm pleased that Dr. Jonathan Levy of Miami University, the director of their program on environment and sustainability, was able to have a conversation with me about climate change, COVID, and how their intersections. The one thing I need to forewarn you is at the very end of our conversation, as it was drawing to a close, my camera stopped working. So you'll see Dr. Levy, but you won't see me. But you can listen. It's about 90 seconds, a little bit less, as he was drawing his conclusions together. I didn't want to miss that part of the conversation. So that's the only technical glitch. That's part of being on Zoom, part of being on streaming services. So I hope you enjoy, even with that technological glitch, my conversation with Dr. Jonathan Levy. I'm pleased that Dr. Jonathan Levy is joining us this evening to have a conversation about sustainability, the environment, climate change, and social justice, those things together. For those of you who don't know Jonathan, some of you are members of Beth Adam and know Jonathan because he's taught adult education classes, one of the most popular being H2OI. I love that class when you did it. It was fascinating.
That was my wife's Carol's idea. Yeah,
I thought that was a great. So thank you. You are the director of the Institute for the Environment and Sustainability at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, yes. And a professor there of what? I'm sorry, I keep going. Tell me the.
Yeah, hydrogeology. So
hydrogeology. I couldn't put it together all of a sudden.
Groundwater. I do groundwater hydrology. Groundwater.
Okay. So what? So you do groundwater hydro. How did you become involved in sort of this big environment and sustainability and the social justice out of because when I hear that, I go, those things don't necessarily go.
PhD, I was applied herbicide in the United States. It's applied on corn. It's applied on soybeans also. It might also be soybeans. So it's applied widely, and it still is. This was in
track of time. That's what it's for.
As a possible carcinogen. Farmers very dependent on it. Farmers who had switched to atrazine from other compounds that really caused much greater problem as far as and then the big controversy had to do about how you handle if you're going over that. Do you start penalizing farmers? Do you ban the chemical? And it has all kinds of economic implications. So it was a huge topic. But after finishing my PhD, my wife, Carol Katz, and I went on a trip around the world. We went to Nepal, we went to Thailand, India, Hong Kong, but the main part of it was Nepal, India, and Thailand. And my awareness was raised as to the idea that there were really severe not the same as worrying about the chance of getting cancer when exposed to a tiny amount of atrazine in your drinking water for a period of 70 years. So I did start to shift focus a bit. I mean, look, important, and the idea that we're exposed to that kills the most people is parasites, is bacteria and protozoa, and you know, it's mainly kids dying. People in the Water Management Authority in Zambia, people at the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, and we've been doing various studies that hopefully will help give more insight into the issues there. I'm working on a couple papers right now that are in revision, trying to get them published based on the Zambia work.
Right.
So a quick overview of how I went from being very
about sustainability and social justice with them.
Yeah, but the social justice issues, it seems to me there's sort of two main prongs to that. And one is social justice within the United States. You know, environmental problems are far from being equally distributed across different ethnic, racial, socioeconomic groups in the United States. And then, but then also globally, there's you know, it's a huge issue globally, and that's becoming especially apparent with climate change now. And for that matter, both issues are becoming all the more apparent and urgent, I think, with the confluence of environmental problems that we've been worried about for a long time, and the confluence of those with climate change. Those things, there is a confluence of all.
Worldwide, why you see it, or how you see that confluence, and then we want to spend more time talking about how we see it, how you see it, the confluence here in the United States. But I wanted to share a little bit about worldwide.
On in the past month. Classifications by the UN, but it those, and Bangladesh has always had a terrible problem with flooding. It's storm season, storm surges affect a lot of rains. You can never say for sure. A man saying level his fields are in deep. If it is climate change, these people being affected are not the ones financially in a position, not that but the people who really suffer are the people in vulnerable communities to begin with. Is, you know, it's in the top 5 or 6 most populous countries in the world. But if you look producing, no, there's no way you can say you are responsible. The most stark example are the islands that are happening, and again, the people living on those islands, these low-lying islands, these are not the biggest carbon emitters in the world. We are
so the conflict, climate change.
New York Times Magazine article that came out just last week. Each of particulate matter. So this is something, this stat or a in the air. And these particulates, or these particles, are a hazard to us to